My name is Nosipho Twala. I work for the Labor Research Service as a gender program officer, and the Labor Research is a labor support organization, and I'm from South Africa. The Power Up project that we are implementing is one of our passion projects, something that we've dreamed of doing in the past. I think over the last 4 years, we had a conversation with women workers who are employed under very precarious conditions. And when Power Up made a call, we saw this as an opportunity to really carry out and implement this project because as the LRS, we're working at work as a whole, as a continuum from the formal to the most informal workers. So the work with food handlers has really made us had an opportunity to look at the care work that women in the formal sector are now doing formal work, but they are not called workers and are called volunteers because of the nature of the work that they are doing. The symposium we organized last week, called the Colloquium, was a big milestone for our work because we were able to carry forward and invite different stakeholders who are working in the nutrition program and different stakeholders who are interested in care work and different stakeholders who are trade unions and other organizations to come together and find ways in which collectively with us, we can learn to support the work of the volunteer food handlers. Because as LRS, we've been very clear that we support the volunteer food handlers. We walk besides them. We don't become their voice. So the colloquium was another opportunity for them to engage with different stakeholders and speak about some of the challenges they are experiencing and some of the strategies they've employed to make sure that the work that they do is valued, is recognized, and is seen as work in a context where reproductive work is undervalued, invisible, especially for a group of women like volunteer food handlers who are doing an essential service, providing nutrition, feeding 9 million learners a day.
Okay, the media advocacy has been a very powerful tool for making the work of the volunteer food handlers visible. Well, so far we've made a few tools, a video, a song, and a lot of also resources that support some of the learnings that we were going through with them that have to do with wages and recognizing themselves as workers who have rights and pushing the narrative of care work is valuable to in the society, as we know. And now it was a matter of the media advocacy involved a lot of co-creating. That is the approach we took. We co-created with the food handlers. So it is not a matter of going with your own ideas. Sometimes the process was very emergent. You go in to listen to the stories of the food handlers and to let them create their own narratives around the things that they wanted to communicate and the issues that they needed to communicate. But the reason that we've been very successful in creating the visibility through the advocacy tools and also the online platforms or Facebook, Twitter, and the website is because communications is embedded in the project. So right from the start, we knew what we were included. The communications team is part of the Power Up project team. So we are included in project activities design, planning meetings. So in that way, we understand what we are trying to achieve. And I think it's very important for communications team to have that clear understanding of what is expected and the issues that we are trying to highlight. And so in that way, when we are embedded like that, we even learn how to communicate using the right language. Because I mean, in gender, we find that terminology can be quite a thing, and you've got to be sure of using the right terms when you're speaking. So that inclusion in the process and the before action reviews and after action reviews, that has been very crucial for us to be able to also plan our work, knowing that we are also doing communications for other projects in the LRS and the broader organization. So it is a lot of juggling. But what I can say is this work for food handlers and the media advocacy around it is giving us examples of what a successful campaign can look like. And so when we start looking at our other projects, like for example, the trade project that we are looking to develop communications advocacy for the continent. And now we have lessons from the Power Up project to know that this is how you do it. These are some of the strategies you can use. But I want to say, like the colloquium we had last week, that was a leap for us because previously we had been trying to get the story of the volunteer food handler in the mainstream media. Now, except the press conference in 2023, it has been very difficult to make journalists interested in this topic. And it's made us realize that even the media, I mean, there's that invisibility for workers who are informal and precarious. It is not an issue for them that excites them and they want to cover them. And we must know that in this year, I mean, there was a lot going on with elections. So trying to get media attention was quite difficult. But what other thing happened is that the nutrition program became a national topic because there was a lot of issues going around, like from procurement issues to change of minister of education. And that means different strategies for even procurement for the program. It put the National Schools Nutrition Program on public discourse. And we tried to take advantage of that because, well, if they're talking about the program, we saw it as an opportunity to also visibilize the volunteer food handler more. And then we had the colloquium with different stakeholders interested in nutrition and the work of making the National School Nutrition Program work better to support the societies and communities it was intended to support. And so when these people come into the space, we thought it was an opportunity also now to get mainstream media interested. And apparently, it is still not an issue for them that they see. We've got to work harder to get them interested in the issue. What the strategy is now, because in that meeting, we got an influential journalist in mainstream media to come. And when she spoke, she was advocating. She said that the strategy is now get editors, tell them about this issue and make them advocate for what we are trying to do. And I think it's one strategy that will get us in the mainstream media and the places we are looking to extend, enhance where we have come to, okay, let me just switch to enhance where we have reached so far. I mean, these media tools and all the communications work that we've done has been a really strong tool for the volunteer food handlers to organize, to even start bargaining and negotiating for themselves in the areas that their workplaces and with their employers. Yeah. Legacy will be that we achieve recognition for every worker in the National School Nutrition Program, every food handler. They have recognition and they are valued and they are remunerated adequately like they should be. everything about the work they do shows they are workers. We are also saying we want to see that name volunteer removed, and hence the legal challenge that we are working towards. So we are coming to a point where we want not only for these workers that their rights are recognized and they're remunerated in the broader expanded work public works program. Those workers, they're very precarious. So we are seeing ourselves also expanding to other workers that are facing the same issue, and seeing all our learnings contributing to proper policies that recognize the value of care work in South Africa. Yeah.
Okay, I think there's been numerous lessons from the Power Up journey. And one lesson we've learned is how you organize workers in precarious employment who are women, and how do you give voice to them, and how do you also support them to claim their rights. And also through this journey, we've also learned that if you have a clarity on what you're trying to build and what you're trying to create, it is very easy to get other partners to support you. And this journey has taught us about the value of collaboration and the strength of uniting our struggles and agendas. The fact that we were approached by a legal law firm looking at labor issues, and how we have managed to work with them in a way that is respectful to women, in a way that is very consultative, in a way that is feminist, a way that does not dominate, dictate, and set the agenda for them. I think this journey has taught us that it is possible to be inclusive. It is possible to be respectful. It is also possible to change the reality of many, many workers within the social sector in the extended public work program. Because if you look at that sector, all workers who work in that sector are called volunteers. And if you look at the group of different groups of workers, all these workers are doing care work. I think it has made us to increase the visibility of care work, for it to be seen as work in a way that values care. I think from COVID, we all thought that care work was going to reach its apex. But what we saw after COVID is lip service. We were told of the beautiful work that care workers did to contribute to ending or managing the pandemic. Care workers in many sectors were made essential. Even though they are essential, there is no essential salary. And what we've tried to do also with this program, taking lessons from another group of care workers, domestic workers, which volunteer food handlers are benchmarking themselves with domestic workers who do very important work, but have been invisibilized and unrecognized for decades. In South Africa, this group of workers now have managed to go to the Constitutional Court and fight for COIDA. This is a policy that speaks for occupational injuries that one gets while working in the world of work. And food handlers work without any social protection. They don't qualify for leave. When they can't come to work, they need to pay a replacement to work for them. So what the colloquium especially taught us, we were able to bring together 75 participants from 50 different organizations who could connect to the issue of valuing care and come up with different strategies. I think for us as an LRS too, it's not only lessons for the volunteer food handlers. We've also learned as an organization how to center care and how to build a campaign that sees, values, and recognizes the group that we are working with. That has meant strengthening the gender program. As an organization, we also have integrated care as a central program that we need to look at. And we also had numerous discussions. I'm not sure if you remember, Nelly, before the colloquium, to say we want people to come there, not because they are there to tick a box. We wanted them to come as individuals and organizations to contribute to the challenge at hand. We wanted them to come up with outcomes for themselves on how they want to support this group of women. And even when we brought in trade unions into the space, we did not want them to run ahead and organize these workers, but we wanted to see how each of us can support this group to strengthen their voice, build their power, and use our influence as individuals and organizations to change and influence the agenda and make sure that, like in South Africa, the minimum wage is a right and the constitution is very clear. And we've also brought a lot of actors who work around the constitution. Even the lawyers tell us there is no debate about it. We can see that these women are workers and they're doing essential work. And we are also working on a program that is implemented nationally, but differently across provinces. So we're going to help bring standardization, ensure parity, and ensure that these women are valued and recognized, not because of us, but because they have discovered it for themselves and have gained the power and the strength to speak and share their stories and their own realities.
Nosipho has said most of it, but I wanted to mention that the LRS is a membership-based organization of trade unions, and everything we do, even in Power Up, is supposed to advance and develop trade unions organizing and collective bargaining. So everything we do is towards that. And we have seen the struggle our members unions go through trying to organize vulnerable workers and workers in the informal sector. It has not been easy for the reasons that we know and others we do not know, but we feel that the Power Up project is giving a beginning of giving the trade unions some strategies. When we get them into a space, at least we have some strategies that we can share with them, and they are also bringing in, because these issues about informality is not strange to them. They are bringing in knowledge that we can put together and collaborate to try and help support them in developing appropriate strategies that can address, which is really an important issue. As we see, informalization is becoming more, and women are affected in more and in different ways, and really to make sure that it is a priority of trade unions to look across the work continuum and ensure that every worker is represented well. So I can say that is one of the key things that's coming out of this. Yeah.